there. So today I'm out here on my lunch break. I only have about an hour and I have to be in by 1 p.m. because I have a phone interview with somebody for my job. But anyway, I thought since I don't have too much time, I'll just take you on a little garden tour and we'll go around and just show you briefly all the things that are blooming and just making an appearance and looking good, looking like it needs weeded, edged. We'll show you all the good things and the stuff that still needs tended to. But let's start right up here by my plum tree. This bed up here is really fun. It's super colorful and these are all perennials that come back every year. This right here is a Newport plum and it gets beautiful white flowers on it in the spring, and then the remainder of the season it's this really pretty maroon color, and I love it in this section. Down here underneath it I have bedazzled Hosta, and these were just planted last season. I think there's 3 of them. This needs edged. I haven't gotten to edging this garden bed yet, but need to edge it, weed it, and mulch it. Everything needs mulched. As you can see, we still have to lay our mulch, but it's a lot easier to lay mulch when you've got all the different tasks done, like edging and weeding and things like that. So I'm working on that first. These are called Hydrangea. They're from the Fun and Game series, Proven Winner, and I believe this is hopscotch. They have Red Rover and hopscotch, and sometimes they're hard for me to tell apart, but I believe this one is hopscotch, and I have them all in here. I think I have 9 of them. 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, but they're a really beautiful plant. They provide so much perennial color all season long. They are a semi-evergreen, so they pretty much stay like this in the winter. They just get a little bit tattered, but they're just, obviously, if you guys have been with me for any sort of time, you know these are one of my favorite plants. Hydrangeas, coral bells. And then in here I have 3 euonymus winter creeper. This is called Gold Splash. This is also a Proven Winner plant. So this provides a different texture, a little bit of shine, because you can see the leaves are a little bit shiny, and also different colors. Back behind that I have a different color. These are called Spilled Wine Weigilla, and they are budding up right now. They will bloom pretty soon here. You see the buds on there. They bloom a beautiful, kind of like a Barbie doll pink color. And then behind those I have 3 Bobo Hydrangeas. So these kind of provide that nice, just subtle green color, and then they bloom after these Weigilla are done blooming. These will throw on a beautiful white bloom, as you know hydrangeas do. Back behind here I've got some Blue Point junipers. These also get a little berry on them, which is really pretty. It's blue color berry as the season progresses, and these have just been such a joy to watch grow because I planted them when they were probably like, I don't know, 1/8 of that size. They're in a little 1-gallon pot, and now they're like probably 3 feet taller than me. It's awesome. Oh, I just seen a little bloom. This is the Weigilla. It's already starting to bloom. That's really neat. Back here, these are Caesar's brother, Siberian iris. These are gorgeous when they bloom. These are the little buds right here. You can see they're all over this plant. And I have 3 of them right here. These are super easy to split and multiply. They are very hardy. And the thing I love most about these is after they're done blooming, they just look like a beautiful ornamental grass. So they don't look nasty and scrubby like a regular perennial would. They're just really, really great plant. Down here I've got a bunch of creeping Jenny, and this kind of has taken over a lot more than I would prefer. I've had it in another area in my garden for several years and it has not taken over like this. So I have to keep an eye on it. It is going into my neighbor's yard, but she says she doesn't mind and she actually kind of likes it. So bless her heart. That's pretty fortunate for me. Let's see. We won't look at everything, but these Hosta in here, they seated themselves in there, and I've kind of just let them go. This area obviously needs some attention. It needs edged and weeded and cleaned up, and I need to move some plants around, but yeah, that's that area in there. Under here, I really love this because this is a pine tree, and then these Hosta are called Christmas tree. So that's kind of fun. These Christmas tree Hosta are right underneath this kind of pine Christmas tree. This is cool too. I was in here the other day weeding and spotted this columbine. I was gonna move it and I forgot, and I'm kind of glad I left it. But it's just growing here all on its own. So that's pretty cool. Let's see here. Down here I just have some Cleveland pear trees with, oh goodness, limelight hydrangeas all along here. And then every so often I've got a silver gumdrop heuchera. And I'd like to put something else in here. I just kind of haven't gotten around to it. It's not high on my priority list. Over here, I'm loving the new look of this tree that I trimmed. Although it's a little gnarly up there, I kind of don't mind. I think it's funny. I've just got some sedum in here, a lavender that's getting ready to bloom. These are red hot poker Nephophias, and same thing with these. I love these plants because they'll bloom a really neat bloom, and then after they're done, they look like an ornamental grass. Up here I've got a poppy, and looks like there's some flax growing in there too. The flax kind of reseeds itself everywhere for me, and I just kind of let it do its thing. I'm not seeing any buds in here yet, but they will pop up really soon. It's one of those orange petaled black center poppies. This is another Siberian iris. I have 3 of them in here, so those will be getting ready to throw on the blooms. There's a bud right there. They're all over in there. This plant, oh, what was that? I got it on clearance a couple of years ago and just threw it in here. I left the tag. Little quick fire hydrangea. I just threw it in here to hold it over, so I don't know. We might leave it in here. I'm not really sure. This bed has kind of been a holdover bed for me. I haven't really had any sort of organization, so the only thing I planted on purpose was the Siberian iris and the Nephophia, and then that obviously, but everything else in here has just kind of been thrown in. I need to move these Hosta. I threw these in there over the winter, and I'm going to come in here with some zinnias and plant this whole hill. That's what I did last year, and it looked really great. These grasses right here are called Carl Forrester grass. It's just a really nice kind of upright grass, and they get almost like a wheat plume on them. You can see my Hosta just love growing anywhere in my garden. Those popped up last year, and I never got around to moving them, but we'll have to move them this year. Back in here is looking all right. Oh, there's another columbine that just grew in there all by itself right next to my curly fries Hosta. That's crazy. Wow. So yeah, I've got just kind of a bunch of different Hosta in here, and they're looking really good. There's some Hosta back here that are just reseeding themselves that I need to, all these right here just grew in there. And oh boy, look at that. See that plant right there? That is poison ivy. So we'll have to make sure we get that. But I have to get in here and weed. You can see there's some weeds back in there near my Minuteman Hosta. We've got some Fire Island. I believe this is a Visions in Pink, Astilbe. I think that's Visions in Pink as well. These are Halcyon Hosta. Let's see, I think Tiara or something. I'm blanking on that name. These Hosta are Blue Mouse Ears. That I think is a white Astilbe. I can't remember. I transplanted it from, it was over here. Last year I kind of dug a bunch of stuff out over here because it was too much and spaced it out. So I think that's a white Astilbe. I can't remember. These Hosta are Captain Kirk. And then underneath my beautiful maple here, Japanese maple, this is a Crimson Queen maple. And it's so pretty. Underneath that I've got Patriot, I think. Is it Patriot or Minuteman? Got 3 of them in there. I should really trim this up or move the Hosta out further so you can see them better. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure it's Patriot or Minuteman. I don't know. It's hard to tell for me. These are Frozen Margarita Hosta. So pretty. Okay, let's go down here. Oh, that one's getting eaten. This is a Twilight Hosta. And then I've got some wild berry heuchera in here, and I can see that my heuchera is doing some heaving. So I've got some wild berry, and then I'm blanking on the name of this one here. But this is usually, you can see I got a weed too, but this is usually just beautiful and lush with heuchera in here, and it's heaving. So you can see that the crown of the plant has been uplifted over the winter and it's suffering. It's still alive, but I'm gonna have to fix this. What I'll do is I'll just dig this up and plant it deeper in the ground so that the crown is below. But that happens from time to time, unfortunately, with our Michigan winters. It just gets super cold and it's hard to sometimes overwinter heuchera. It depends on the spot. But yeah, this definitely needs some weeding in here. Not too bad, but a little bit. This is my Hakanakloa all gold grass. It's looking beautiful. This is a little wildberry heuchera. It loves it in this spot. I got a weed, but I put white rocks around it just to kind of make it pop from the dark mulch. Sometimes I do that with my darker plants. This area is looking really great. That some in substance Hosta has just really leafed out. It's so pretty. I can't remember what heuchera this is. I think it might be Melting Fire, and that's just a Hosta that volunteered. This little planter right here is looking so good. Last year's growth. But it has a Obsidian heuchera, Halcyon Hosta, and then a Southern Comfort heuchera. And these plants have been in here probably going on four years now. And I leave it sit here right over the winter so it gets the elements, snow, rain, whatever, and it does really great in that pot. It's a kind of like a galvanized pot. I bought that from Cherry Valley Gardens one year and put these plants in it, and they look beautiful. Over here, I've got some sedum growing. This is a pot that my sister and I made. It's just a hypertufa mixture. Here, let me see if I can lift it. It's kind of got some aged algae on there, which is kind of cool. But these just overwinter in these pots. Same with this seashell planter. All these plants in here overwinter. I did not plant any of this year. It all came back from last year. pretty soon here, these Astobi will throw on a bud. This is Bridal Veil Astobi, and they get a really beautiful lacy white bloom on them. I love them so much. It's one of the first plants I planted in this area was those Astobi. And when I first planted them, I actually planted a bunch of heuchera in between because they were so small. And then these Astobi just put on so much growth, I ended up having to move the heuchera. This is a Annabelle hydrangea. It's gorgeous, even when it's not blooming. I've got some elegans hosta in here. They kind of are lining the maintenance strip here. They are beautiful. They've really put on a lot of growth this season. These leaves are massive. And then in between, I just have a melting fire heuchera. And then more hydrangea, snowball. Well, I call it snowball, but it's technically Annabelle. So I just kind of have them repeating in here. They're looking really pretty. Really massive leaves. It's so crazy how big that is. Then we're coming up on my stained glass hosta. These are one of my favorite, I would say, medium-sized hosta. They're not as big as like the Sum and Substance or Francis William or Elegans or whatever. They are pretty big, but those are a gorgeous hosta. They almost have a glow to them. If you're looking for a nice hosta to brighten up an area, that stained glass is just beautiful. And then up here, I've got massive Annabelle hydrangea with some heuchera in here. This needs weeded. This weed, you guys, do you have this in your garden? I don't know what it's called. I should research it, but it's so sticky. It sticks to my gloves, my clothes, and everything. It drives me nuts. It comes out really easy. Just pull it and it comes out super easy, but it's so, like right now, it was sticking to my hand. This area I've been working on taking hydrangea from because this plant grows so good in here. It just keeps throwing on more plants. Like right here, I could dig that up and replant it somewhere else. So I've been digging chunks off of that and swing you slow. Oh, there's a cardinal at my bird feeder. And I've been planting them all along there. Let's see if I can get close to him. He's so pretty. No. He's not having it. Oh, there he goes. Anyway, so this area, it needs a little work. I have 2 Great Expectation hosta here. I had 3 of them, and I don't know where the other one went. It's very strange. That never happens. It just like disappeared. So it kind of bothers me that there's only 2. What I want to do is split probably that one and put another one right there. And then I've got 3. These are just Palace Purple heuchera in here. And there's a couple in there that aren't doing so well, only because they've been kind of attacked by this hydrangea. So I'd like to plant another hosta there and then somehow rearrange the heuchera so they get a little bit more sunshine. This right here is a stokesia. This will put on a really neat bloom, and this is a evergreen plant. This is one of my favorite hosta. It is called Francis William. I just think they are gorgeous. It does have some cold damage here, and somebody ate the leaves probably when it was coming out. But yeah, this is all cold damage. We did have a frost late in the spring, but it will bounce right back. These are my, what is this? Not spilled wine. Wine and Roses, Wedgilla, and they are starting to bloom. So pretty. I just love this pink color next to the color of the hosta. I love those plants. I have to keep them in check though, because Nate doesn't like it when they grow into that, I don't know, whatever that is. Heating and cooling products. Air conditioner? I have no clue. There's another Wine and Roses Wagilla. And then there's a little clump of Halcyon Hosta. These right here are Visions in Pink Astilbe. And then up here, I've got another massive Annabelle hydrangea that I've also taken chunks off of. And I could still take more chunks off of, but that one loves this spot, and later on in the season after it blooms, it kind of droops down this retaining wall, and it is beautiful. I love it so much. I feel like Annabelle hydrangeas get such a bad rap for drooping, and I welcome it in this area. I just think it looks so beautiful. It spills over the side of this retaining wall, and it's so magical. So I gotta give it to you, buddy. I don't care what anybody else says about you. I love you. And then in here, I've just got a mixture of Heucherella and Heuchera, and then Autumn Frost Hosta. So I really love the colors in here. This is all perennial color, returns from year to year. I don't have to replant any of this. And I love this because I've got red, purple, green, white, blue, some true green, and then some more like pink and white up here. It's just so many colors in here, and I didn't have to plant any of that this year. It comes back just like this for me every season. So it's pretty awesome. That is, it's that movie. There's a movie called that. Hunger Games? No, that's not it either. Oh, what is that called? Okay, I got it. It's Catching Fire. Not Hunger Games, Catching Fire. And then these are Plum Pudding. They're getting ready to bloom. I love the blooms on a Heuchera. That's another thing too. I just really love blooms on Hosta and Heuchera. I think they get a bad rap, or they, some people think they're insignificant, but I just don't think any flower is insignificant. I mean, I appreciate just the leaves on these, so the fact that it even flowers is an added extra bonus to me, in my opinion. It's completely my opinion. These are Halcyon Hosta. Boy, I gotta cut the suckers on that. And this tree, you guys, has been through it. I know the trunk looks really unhealthy, and I'm sure it is, but this tree has almost died several times, and it just keeps hanging on, so I just let it do its thing. In here, I have some Remember Me Hosta. These are all Remember Me. They're beautiful. They kind of look like a Great Expectation Hosta, except they don't get as big. And then kind of in between those, I've got Piglet Fountain Grass. They're just a really beautiful, fluffy, flowy grass, and they get almost like a bunny tail plume on them. And behind those, I've got roses. These are Paint the Town, is it Paint the Town Red? I think it's something like Paint the Town Red Easy Elegance, and these are my favorite roses. I love them so much. In here, I have a glow blue spruce tree with some orange, well, technically I think they're called peach, maybe, snapdragons. And it is getting a little warmer, so they are starting to fizzle out a little bit, but boy, I was so glad to get these in the garden this year. And honestly, you guys, I think I'm just gonna cut them when they're done blooming, because look at all these buds. I think I'm just gonna cut them and have it be a little bush, and maybe they'll survive until the fall, and then they'll re-bloom again in the fall. We will see. I think I'm gonna do the same thing with the pansies. I have to be careful because there's a dove that built a nest in here, so I don't want to get too excited. But in here, all these spear boxwoods are called green velvet. and they're just looking really beautiful this year. I haven't trimmed them yet this year. I think I trimmed them halfway through the season last year, so we might end up doing that again. I'm really nervous that this dove is gonna fly out. Is he in there? Oh yeah, he's in there. All right, I don't want to get too crazy. Over here I've got little lime hydrangeas, and these will be budding up maybe in a couple of weeks, a few weeks. See if I can walk by without him flying out. These planters were such a joy this year. I am enjoying them so much. You can see my ranunculus is starting to die back, but I think I'll just, cut this back, maybe try to save the corms. I don't know, we'll see. But I definitely want to try and save some of these viola and pansies and see if they will return for me next season or even in the fall. I don't know, we'll see. But the stock is still blooming. It's just been so much fun having annuals up here this year. I don't usually do this because I don't like planting spring plants because, they die off eventually. But this was a great addition to my front porch this year, and I've just been really enjoying it so much. Let me see. This one is looking so pretty too. Gosh, that dove, he flies out and it's so scary. I feel bad for him, but he builds his nest in there every year. All right, so right here I have a lollipop tree. This is a shag white pine. It's so pretty. I apologize if I've said so pretty like 19 times. I don't really realize I'm doing it. I did plant some stock in here. They're starting to fizzle out, and this foliage is just from my daffodils that I will let kind of die back. This is really neat. Last year I planted blue salvia, so I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it all came back. I was hoping it would do that. So that's just a Victoria blue salvia, and it's awesome because once my daffodil foliage dies back, that will be ready and rearing to go. This one over here is already throwing on buds, which is pretty cool. Well, I'm pretty sure it's getting close to my lunch break being over, so I thought maybe we'd end out here by the mailbox since I'm showing you my spring annuals that I planted. I want to show you what's going on out here by the mailbox. I have loved this so much. It's so precious. We've got the red, white, and blue going on. So we got the blue in the front, and then the white in the middle here, and then the red in the back. And this is also super cool. In all of these red pansies, you can see we've been getting a little bit more warmer weather, so some of them are starting to kind of fizzle out, which will totally happen. I'm just gonna leave them in here. I'm not gonna pull them out or anything. And I'm gonna let all of this right here, blue salvia that is returning, I'm gonna let this grow up and kind of take its place. So all this in here is beautiful Victoria blue salvia that once this red pansy fizzles out, it will take over. And then I'll just plant some red begonias and something white. I'm not sure yet. But I just think it's been so fun to have this out here, especially for all the people who take walks. Well, I just looked at my clock and it's 12:41. So I still have like 10 minutes or so, 15 minutes, if I calculated that right. So I'm gonna show you the island bed, and then I think we'll have to be done. On the way to the island bed, this is really encouraging as well. Last year I planted blue salvia all around here, and it is all coming back. So that's awesome. An annual I don't have to purchase again this year. Okay, let's go out to the island bed. I've got 2 river birch trees in here, and probably heard me say this a million times, but these were $10 a piece on the clearance rack at Home Depot like 8 years ago. They were so small, I fit them in my little compact car, both of them, and now they are just growing out here like a weed and looking beautiful. This island bed used to be a fraction of this size. It kind of ended right where that rock was and was only about that big. And then a couple of years ago, Nate and I came in and made it wider all the way around, probably about 5 feet, maybe more, 5 or 6 feet. Just because these trees have grown so quickly over the last several years. They are just a beautiful, beautiful tree. They like a lot of moisture, and boy, do we get a lot of moisture up here. This is kind of a lower spot in our area, so I'm so thankful that we have these trees up here to kind of help out with that situation. Then in here, I've got some blue angel hosta, and this whole entire bed kind of mirrors itself. So I've got the same stuff that's on this side on the other side. But these are blue angel hosta next to some all gold aconocloa grass. And then in front of that, I have kind of a mixture of heucheras and, oh, I can't remember what this one is. Sorry. There's that color and then that color. They kind of reminded me of a watermelon in here, so I just call them my watermelon heuchera, but that's not what they're called. And then in front of that, I have double play candy corn spirea. Beautiful shrub. I love this one so much. It provides so much color. And then in between those, I've got plum pudding heuchera. So, and then there's stuff in the back, which I'll show you, but I mean, I know it's not like amazing, but if you can get the right color leaf perennials, you can get some pretty decent color without having to plant annuals or to hold you over until you plant annuals. Let's see, I've got 3, lo and behold, little blue chip, what's it called? Butterfly bush. And when I planted these, as I said, these trees were a lot smaller. So these butterfly bush and then also these bobo hydrangeas, I've got 2 of them in here, they got a lot more sun than they do now. So these don't do the greatest. However, I mean, I think they're kind of cute and they do bloom. I might end up moving them one of these days. Behind that, I've got 3 Carl Forrester grasses. They're so pretty. Just provides another extra layer of texture in here. And then, like I said, it kind of mirrors on this side with the same thing. So 2 blue angel hosta with the aconocloa grass. I've got the 2 different colors of heuchera, then the double play candy corn, spirea, and then also the plum pudding heuchera. On the back side over here, I have frozen margarita hosta. All 6 of these, so I have 6, 1, 2, 3, yeah. I split from my plants in the back. I just dug a few up and split them a couple of years ago. And so it was free plants. I got 6 of them in here and they're beautiful. They add so much color out here. And then in between those, I have caramel heuchera. This is another really great hardy heuchera. I've planted more heuchera in here. You can see there, and there's a yellow one too, but some of them just don't do the greatest out here because of the roots of the river birch tree. Excuse me. But I do have some more heuchera out here. It's just some of it, I don't know. Like I said, it's hard to grow stuff out here after the fact that these trees have established their roots in the ground. When I first planted some of the plants out here, you know, it was just free soil with no roots in it. But the stuff I've tried to come in and add later has struggled a bit. So I'm trying to figure out what works and what doesn't. But I'm really pleased with this bed because, as I said, I don't have any annuals in here. It's just all perennial color for free. And then once I do get my annuals kind of grown up, I will come in and plant. I'm thinking begonias this year. Begonias are just a tried and true plant for me. I don't have to water them after the initial planting, of course. I water them when I plant them, but I don't water them, I don't fertilize them. I literally plant them, water them, and then they look beautiful all season. And then the leaves, actually, the leaves of the begonias, they start out green, and then the leaves almost turn to a really pretty red color themselves. So they're just a really awesome plant. I love them. All right, well, I'm pretty sure my lunch break is over. I got to get inside on a phone call, but I really appreciate you hanging out with me over my lunch break and keeping me company. Sometimes it gets a little lonely to work from home. I mean, I do have Max, don't get me wrong. He's my buddy. And Nate comes home for lunch sometimes, but when I get to come out here and pretend, I guess, like you're with me right now, you won't watch this till later, but I don't know, I just kind of, it feels like you guys are with me, and so I just really appreciate that. But anyway, hopefully I'll see you tomorrow or the next day, we'll see. But until then, I'm signing off, so I'll see you later. Bye.